Thank you for joining us today for our MTSU Alumni Lunchtime webinar, Cybersecurity and Scams Awareness. We are thrilled to have our speaker, Dr. Upadhyay, here today. He is going to have some great information for us regarding cybersecurity. I had the pleasure of hearing him speak a few months ago on this topic, so you are all in for a treat. First, I just wanted to say thank you. As alumni, you're a vital part of our community, and we are grateful for all the time and work you put back into MTSU. We have so many events coming up this spring and summer. I hope you will check them out on mtalumni.com. We have trips, glass blowing, summer college, pickleball, all sorts of things going on that you as an alum have exclusive access to. So I hope you'll take advantage. Now, on to our topic. I am so happy to welcome Professor Upadhyay. He's assistant professor in MTSU Computer Science here. He's a researcher in cybersecurity and trustworthy artificial intelligence. He focuses on blockchain, federated learning, and privacy-preserving systems. His work advances secure digital infrastructures for applications ranging from smart supply chains to metaverse security. He holds a PhD in computer science from the University of North Texas and contributes to research funded by the National Science Foundation in quantum information science and AI. Professor, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Rachel. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Rachel, for the introduction and giving this opportunity to talk about cybersecurity and scam awareness. I know this topic has always been very relevant and a very important one because we have been affected with this topic all the time. So let me get started. I know that Rachel had already given a short introduction, but I'd like to briefly talk about it once more. My research interests are in cybersecurity, blockchain, and AI security. I completed my PhD in computer science and engineering from University of North Texas in summer of 2023. And then I joined MTSU Department of Computer Science in fall 2023. All right. Let us get started with the topic for today. So the first main thing we have to talk about when talking about scams and cybersecurity is we need to understand why scams are critical. We need to understand that scams are not some random events, but it is a targeted, a strategic movement by different cyber criminals. And these strategic targeted attacks by these cyber criminals are made sure that these attacks are done on certain demographics, certain age groups. So let us see what we have here. So women as primary targets. So as we can see that women lose an average of $1,500 per scam incident versus $1,000 for men. And this report, this data is coming from FBI Internet Crime Complaints Center, also known as IC3. So the data is basically coming from FBI IC3 reports. So like I was saying earlier, these scams are not some random events, but these are very targeted against certain demographic groups or against certain gender as well. So romance scams target women 63% of the time. I'll talk more about what romance scam means in a while, but these kind of data show us why and how certain demographics are targeted mostly disproportionately compared to other demographics and age groups and gender groups. And also, women are twice more likely to be targeted in online shopping scams compared to the men. Now, let us keep moving on. Then we have seniors data. So Americans over 60 years old, they have lost almost $5 billion to scams in just 2024. And again, this data is coming from FBI IC3 report. And again, I'd like to emphasize here, this is not almost $5 million. This is almost $5 billion and alone in 2024. As we can also see, almost 150,000 senior victims were reported in 2024 alone. What we need to understand is that these were just the reported incidents. Due to embarrassment, due to other reasons, there were probably even more incidents that were not even reported. So, and these 147,000 reportings were only made in 2024. And why are seniors targeted? Because seniors often have retirement savings, home equity, and excellent credit score. So that is why cyber criminals or scammers, they think that seniors, women, from these kind of demographics, they think that they have got potentially higher payout. So also, seniors are more polite and less likely to hang up on callers because seniors have been raised in that kind of system where they are more polite, they respect the authority, and once they get a call, they are taught to pick up the call and keep interacting with the caller. So we also have cognitive decline. That can make it harder to spot red flags. When I'm using this word cognitive decline, I do not mean incompetence. What I mean is during this kind of overwhelmed situation, because of the lesser processing, uh, certain seniors can make logical decisions. What I'm trying to say is that emotions may override the logical decision-making process, and hence it becomes very hard for seniors to spot these red flags. And also, on top of that, to make the matter even worse, the seniors, they often live alone and may be isolated, making them more vulnerable, which is exactly what these cyber criminals have been looking for. Um, there is no one to verify with. There is no one to teach the seniors that this actually is looking a little bit suspicious. Maybe hang up the call. So because of the isolation, because of the old age, and because of their politeness, a lot of cyber criminals are taking advantage of seniors and also women. Let me talk a little bit more about the trend analysis from 2024. Why do I have the data from 2024? Because the data from 2025 is not completely finalized as of now, but I'm sure even the data from 2024 is going to surprise you. So overall statistics, the total losses from cybercrime in 2024 was $16.6 billion, which is 33% higher from 2023. This year, the last year in 2025, the new data in 2025 suggests there has been increment of more than $2 billion again. So this is a new record high. So we have $18.8 billion that were reported for total losses from cybercrime alone in 2025. We can also see that there were 850,000 plus complaints filed with FBI in 2024 alone, which means average loss per victim was approximately $19,000. Now, this is average loss per victim, right? So what we need to understand is that there can be way higher loss per victim as well. And this $19,000 is only an average. So let us see more trends. So romance scam targeting women increased by 35%. So what is romance scam? I will talk a little bit more about this in the later slides, but let me just quickly talk about this. Romance scams is when cyber criminals are taking advantage of women's emotions. They might establish a trust between themselves and the victim they are looking to manipulate. And it might start with just a simple text or a phone call, and they are not immediately looking to exploit the victim, but only after building a certain amount of trust. So this might take anywhere from a week to even months. Women over 50 have lost anywhere from 1.5 to $2 billion to romance scams alone in 2024. And again, let me emphasize this data one more time. This is not in millions, but this is in billions. And also on top of that, it's alone in 2024. Online shopping scams targeting women up to 28%. We are aware that these days there's a lot of AI slops, there's a lot of fake advertisements, there's a lot of different entry points that make it very easier for the scammers to start manipulating their victims. So social media, as a result, social media scams have increased by 53% than the year before, because these days, whether it's for establishing a connection with someone, or let's say to buy something, we have been using social media. So social media is not just about adding friends or families anymore. We have a lot different kind of marketplaces in social medias as well, and as a result, there it increases the attack surface, and as a result we have different kind of scams. And as we can see from this data, that the data has, the situation is kind of getting worse than the year before. Now let's talk a little bit about the trend for the seniors specifically, for the seniors with more than 60 years old. So tech support scams. So what are tech support scams? I'm sure we might have heard or seen some videos where we get those fake requests saying that our computer has been affected by a virus, and these tech support scammers, they claim that our computer or our system has been compromised with some kind of virus or some kind of other threats, and they are actually helping us. Of course, they are not helping us, but they are pretending to help us by saying that they are going to look over our system and they are going to remove all those virus or threats or any other cyber threats we have in our system. And as a result, they get access to our system, and they get access to our sensitive information as well. So 68% of victims are seniors. That is a very dangerous data, and the average loss from this has been resulted to $17,000 per year. Now let's talk about investment scams. So average senior loses $88,000. So this is highest of any age group. Like I was saying in the last slide, these scams are not just some random events. They are actually very targeted to certain demographics because they know there is higher potential payout from these certain demographics. So investment scams, there's a lot of investment scams going on. Scammers, they want to gain your trust. Sometimes they even mirror your hobbies as well, and they might someday casually just say that, by the way, I made $1,000 or $2,000 from this crypto investment. And they might even be transparent, and with their data they might even show you how much they made. Of course, these all data are synthesized, the dashboard is fake. The whole application they are using to show their victim of how much they made is also fake. What they are trying to do is they are just trying to gain the trust, gain the reputation, so that once they gain the trust of their victim, they will ask their victims to invest more money in their platform. And of course, both the money and the scammer disappear once the victims they provide money to the scammers, thinking that they are actually investing in a very good platform. Now, government impersonation scams increased by 42% among seniors. Government impersonation scams may come in different forms. For example, someone pretending to be from IRS department, sometimes someone pretending to be from the law enforcement department, or someone pretending to be from FBI. They might say that they might create this urgency. They might threaten, saying that if you do not pay so and so amount of money, then uh, you will be basically be arrested. So this kind of scams have been increased by 42% among seniors. And finally, we have grandparent scams averaging $12,000 per incident. So in short, grandparent scams, just an example for now. I'll be talking more about this in a while. But grandparent scams basically just means with the use of AI and deepfakes these days, the scammers, they have access to the social media. From social media, the scammers can find out different kind of photos, the relationships, where you work, who your friends are, what the names of your grandchildren are. So using some kind of deepfake technology, the scammers pretending to be your grandchildren, they might just call you and saying that, and might say that, grandmom or granddad, I am in a big trouble right now. I am in a car accident or I am in a jail. Please do not share this information with my mom and dad. Let's keep this secret. And basically what they're looking for is some money so that they can get bailout, or they can use that money for their to treat themselves from this fake accident. And of course, grandparents have a very special relationship with their grandchildren, and because of this emotional blackmail, they would easily give the money to that scammer, thinking they're transferring their money to their grandchildren. So uh, this data is really, really bad. And what we are hoping is for more awareness so that we can strategically mitigate these different kind of cyber crimes. And now, seniors account for 29% of all the cybercrime losses. So this is like the 1/3 of all the cybercrime losses, and the victims are the seniors. And I have mentioned a few reasons before. The seniors are taught to follow the rules. Seniors are taught to politely accept the authority as well, and seniors are also taught to. Back in the days, seniors are also taught to, once the phone rings, keep interacting with the phone. So they are less skeptical compared to the younger generations, basically. So that is why scammers are targeting specifically the seniors, because they know that there is a higher probability of the higher payout. So why is there a higher increase in the number of scams? So that's a very good question. So scammers, what we need to know, are just criminals, right? So they're just the criminals who are using psychology as well as technology for their benefits. So when we think of scammers, it's not just someone sitting in a dark room just coding all the time and hacking a system. Scammers are actually very good at psychology and combining that psychology with technology for their benefits. So what they are doing is actually they are exploiting fear, urgency, greed, loneliness, trust, and authority. And based on these exploitation, they are making sure that they're affecting their victims. Sometimes professional scam scripts are also sold and shared among criminals. This is very surprising, but this is their business model. So uh, we can find these kind of scam scripts in different kind of markets where they practice uh, how different scenarios when someone becomes skeptical and someone objects, they even have the script for that as well. So they are absolutely ready on all different kind of scenarios because they have practiced this script again and again. So just like how, a salesperson have their business pitch, so similarly, these scammers also have their ready-made scam scripts from which they keep practicing and make sure that the talk or the conversation between scammers and the victims are very easy and smooth. These days, scammers have started to utilize AI to personalize attacks. We have seen the effects of AI and how fast it has been, changing the entire internet with our own eyes. So AI is artificial intelligence. Basically, AI is a technique which learns like humans, which mimic like humans. That's why it is known as an artificial intelligence, because it can talk like a human, it can decide like a human, and it can behave like a human. So combining AI and automation, the scalability of these scams have increased dramatically. Back in the days, if there was a scammer and he or she wasn't using any kind of AI, then all the work would have been done by themselves manually. Now, because of AI, the whole automation part has become really smoother, efficient, and faster. And now they can reach uh, different victims parallelly. So we have voice cloning as well, like the example I was giving earlier of the grandmom and grandchildren. So the scammers might clone someone's voice. They find in the internet there are millions of videos we can find in the internet. So getting someone's voice, training the AI with those kind of voices isn't a difficult task anymore. And this is actually an example of deepfakes as well. Deepfakes comes in different forms, cloning of voice, cloning of faces, different videos, even text, pictures. So these are all different examples of deepfakes. And then we have translation tools and cryptocurrency. Basically, AI is also helping to, let's say, convert or translate the script from English to other several languages. So now, basically, these scammers, because of these scammers, have started to utilize AI. That is why there is a dramatic increase of number of scams in the recent years. And finally, cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies are usually very fast. The transactions in the cryptocurrencies are really fast, and it's almost irreversible. The transaction can not be easily reversible because of the decentralized architecture they are being implemented in, and because of that. There is a lot of investment scams going on, and we will talk more about that in a while. So our social media is the main entry point. We are inviting the scammers ourselves. We have lots of different pictures. We post in social media whenever we are planning to travel somewhere. We post about that in social media as well, and let the basically the whole world know what our next step is going to be. We post different parties, birthday parties. We post pictures of our own relatives, and because of this, a lot of scammers are getting our personal information without even trying. And more financial transactions are also happening online, from buying something to ordering food also online. And these days we are teaching online. Buying something, is also happening in an online platform. So basically, we do not anything that we do doesn't have to be physical anymore. So all of the tasks, transactions, they are happening online, and because of this, the attack surface is also increasing simultaneously. And as we all know, COVID-19 was not a very good time. The whole country, we basically had to isolate ourselves inside our house or inside the room, and because of that, there was more adoption in the digital platform because we still had to carry on with our lives. So since all these transactions can now happen online, and on top of that, because of COVID-19, more people started to um, lean towards the digital adoption, especially the seniors as well. So the seniors who did not have much knowledge with the digital platforms because of COVID-19, they started increasing their interaction with digital platform as well. And because of these kind of um, dependencies on digital platforms, we have more targets now. Now, global operation of scammers. So many scammers that we have found from the reports operate from overseas. These scammers are mostly from Eastern Europe, Nigeria, India, and also from Southeast Asian countries like Philippines and Indonesia. So what we need to understand is that I mentioned that this is their business model. This is not just some random guy who is sitting in a dark room trying to hack somebody's system, but this is a full-scale business with a lot of people working um, in a house as if it's a call center. And they are basically contacting different scammers. Basically, they are contacting different victims all over the world. And a lot of victims, because of the fear of embarrassment of or because of the fear of judgment, they do not even report to the authorities, to the proper authorities. And that is why all these numbers, all this data we have seen so far in the slide or in the last slide are probably underestimated, which already looks, a lot. Now, let us move a little bit closer because we might think that, oh, okay, that's the scam incident from New York, that's the scam incident from California, that this is the scam incident from Florida, but we will pay more attention if it's from our own local place. So overall Tennessee data, so more than 11,400 complaints were filed with FBI IC3 in 2024 alone. That's a lot of complaints in just 1 year alone from Tennessee. And we have been reported with $190 million in total losses. And again, this is only from Tennessee just in 2024, which means the average loss per complaint was $16,674. And like I said, this is only an average loss. There were probably a lot of losses per complaint that were way higher than $16,000. And this data is also showing that Tennessee actually ranks 21st among all the US states. This data shows that Tennessee isn't doing really bad, but at the same time, Tennessee isn't doing really good either, right? Our task should be to reduce this number as much as we can. So let us compare Tennessee with the US national average because this is a little bit more eye-opening. So this data that we just discussed, $16,674 is the average loss per complaints. The national average is slightly higher. That is $19,372 average loss per complaints. Like I was saying earlier, we are slightly below the national average, but again, this sometimes the average can get skewed and may not tell us the full picture because there are lots of other states with more population as well. And Tennessee, the population size of Tennessee may be somewhat smaller than other states, but still, this average is showing that we are not, too below compared to the national average. Now, I have a table here that kind of compares our state with the neighboring states, and this data is from 2024 as well. So As we can see, we have four columns here. The first column, we have the neighboring states. In the second column, we have how many complaints were registered. In the third column, we have the total losses that shows the severity of the cyber crimes from all these kind of different kind of scams. And finally, we have average loss per complaints from these states. As we can see, the highest complaints from our neighboring states was from North Carolina. And as you can also see, as a result, North Carolina, the total losses from North Carolina was $324 million. And as a result, in our fourth column, we can see the severity of this complaint. So average loss per complaints was $14,000, almost $15,000. Same thing with Georgia as well. Slightly lower complaints, number of complaints compared to North Carolina, almost 20,000 complaints. But the total losses increased here, which is $420 million. And average loss per complaints was $21,000 approximately. So this shows that even though the complaints reduced in numbers, the severity did not, the impact did not. And now we can have a look at our state's data. So the total complaints was slightly higher than 11,400, and the total losses is almost 200 million, and the average loss per complaints is $16,674. Now, we can compare this with the Mississippi's data as well. The total complaints was only 3,068, probably due to lower number of population in Mississippi compared to other neighboring states. The total losses was also only 65 million, not only, but compared to other states, it's somewhat lower, but average loss per complaints is as equal or even higher than Georgia's. So this is telling us that even though the number of complaints were lower compared to its other neighboring states, the severity, the impact of these complaints were really, really high. So this table kind of gives us a picture of our state and how we are doing compared to our neighboring states in the year of 2024. Now, let me talk about different kind of scams. We can only tackle with these different kind of scams if we know how these different kind of scams are, right? So the first one is AI powered scams. And every time I am talking about the scams, I also want you to think in the back of your mind, what emotional trigger the victim is probably facing. Because the main thing we have to remember is that these scammers aren't just good at technology, they are also good at manipulating the emotions of their victims. So what emotions are they actually exploiting from victims? So let us talk about AI powered scams. AI is like a double-edged sword, right? AI has been very, very helpful for us. For example, AI has been helping us, different researchers finding even the rare type of cancers, pneumonias, and all different kind of diseases. But at the same time, if handled badly, AI can also be used for malicious purposes. So, for example, the scammers can clone the voices of somebody else and can act maliciously pretending to be someone else. There is AI chatbot scams. Probably the scammers are not even typing the response by themselves. Probably they're just using an automated AI chatbot system, which will respond you in such a way based on their training, right? So these kind of AI chatbots are very dangerous because in the beginning, we as victims, we cannot differentiate if these are real people or if these are only AI chatbots. And we have AI generated phishing emails as well. Back in the days, we are not new to phishing emails, but back in the days, we could detect if this probably came from a scammer, because there used to be spelling mistakes, there used to be inconsistencies, there used to be grammatical mistakes. But these days, because of the use of AI, this everything, even the emails, first of all, are becoming very personalized. Instead of just saying dear customer, they might use your names. Uh, and this is certainly because of the AI. And secondly, there are no grammatical mistakes anymore. So day by day, it's getting harder and harder to detect if this is coming from an AI or if this is coming from a legitimate human. And just to add one more example, recently I saw a video where someone's face, and this guy was probably a content creator and had been posting a lot of contents, a lot of short videos. So the scammers used those videos and created their own content by cloning their voice. Basically, what they were doing was they were just saying, so there was a group of family, and so basically they were just saying that they have been in the music industry for the last 30-35 years, and they are about to retire, so they're not much into the music industry anymore, but they would still accept the requests from other people, what kind of songs they want to make as a gift for their special ones. And basically they are just being the middleman. What they're doing is basically they have this nice application created by AI as well. And they are asking prompts from these victims, from their clients. What kind of songs you want, whose birthday is it, or whose anniversary is it, what's the recipient's name, and what kind of songs you would like. So basically, clients or the victims are just typing all the prompts they could have typed in ChatGPT by themselves. But these scammers are making themselves look a legitimate family-owned business, and they are just trying to gain the trust of the victim, of their victims. And as a result, without doing any work, they are coming up with AI generated songs and also receiving money for their fake service. So we have to be very, very careful, since the AI has been becoming more advanced day by day. um, we have to be skeptical of basically everything. And we have something really interesting called paid scams. Paid scams are actually looking to target the victim's attachment and excitement. Like I was saying earlier, all these different kind of scams are not necessarily about breaching some data or attacking or hacking a system. They are actually very good at psychology, and they are actually hacking or manipulating the victims' psychology, their emotions. So a lot of us get very excited when we see cute dogs, cute puppies, cute kittens in the internet, and the scammers web page looks very legitimate. But once you start to do business with them, they will come up with different kind of excuses. First, they might ask you for their deposit money. Then they might ask you for their shipping fees, for insurance, for vaccination fees, and so on. The list continues before you even get to see the animal. And later, both the website, you never get puppies. You have lost your money, and basically you have been scammed uh, uh, by just seeing a cute puppy in the internet. So these are very new kind of scams that is happening widely in the internet right now. Then we have our old phishing emails. We have, been seeing this kind of emails all the time. We usually get our package delivery phishing emails, because these days, everything is happening in the internet, right? So seeing package delivery emails are not surprising for us. But the scammers, they take advantages of these kind of situations all the time. So they might send us certain kind of text such as your package is awaiting delivery, update address. Now they with this they might also send us a link. We are very quick to click, when it comes to the links. So once we click the link, we will be redirected to their page, which exactly looks like a legitimate marketplace page, and we provide our credentials like passwords and username, and now they have our access to all the details. Similarly, we kind of get emails. Your bank account will be suspended, your Netflix account will be suspended, someone else logged inside your Apple account or Microsoft account. So what is happening here is that a sense of urgency is being created. What we need to remember is that these attackers, they always create a sense of urgency, and then they take advantage of this sense of urgency, not necessarily by hacking our data, but by hacking our emotions. Let's keep talking more about different kind of scams. Uh, one of the most popular probably is tech support scams. Like I was saying earlier, there are different overseas company that is dedicated for tech support scams. These overseas companies are mostly located in India, mostly located in Southeast Asia, somewhere in Eastern Europe, but what basically they do is they claim our system has been compromised. A fake pop-up might appear in our system saying that we have to fix our computer as soon as possible, otherwise there is a big chance that the virus might spread through the network and basically compromise our entire system. If we do not take action as soon as we can, then we might lose our data. And again, this is also creating the sense of urgency. So they might call us saying that our computer has been infected, or they might leave a phone number in a fake, in their fake web page or in their fake pop-up, and we as a victim might not be aware of that. So as a result, we call them, or if they do not call us directly, and basically we are inviting themselves into our system, exactly like Trojan horse, right? From the which is exactly what we learn in our history as well. So as a result, they install malicious software or simply steal information. Sometimes they might not even do anything, and they might demand payment for their fake service. So, which is equally bad. We have romance scams. This is something we have been hearing a lot, especially in the recent, 5 to 7 years. The scammers basically create fake profile on dating site, Facebook, Instagram, and so on, WhatsApp, and they often claim to be military, overseas doctor, someone working, some engineer working overseas in an oil rig, and so on. Why are they always in overseas? Because they want themselves to appear very distant from their victims, because that reduces the validation or the verification, and it's easier to come up with different kind of excuses if you are always overseas. So they make themselves appear very successful in their field, and they basically have good background. They make enough money, nice money. They can support themselves and the family as well. So they are basically taking advantage of their victims' emotions by this time. So this is not something really quick. It might take anywhere from weeks to even months, and the victims may not be even aware of that. So They introduce themselves as someone really successful and living their nice life in overseas, but all of a sudden they come up with urgent requests of money. They might have some visa issues, they might have some travel issues, they might have some other kind of payment issues. So they will come up with different kind of excuses. They will demand anywhere from $500 to $500 to $5,000. Then the victims pay them the money, thinking they can be trusted because a relationship has already been built by this time. And this advantage is taken off by the victim for the victims, and because of this, slowly, a lot of money has been transferred from the victim's account to the scammer's account. And we can already see in only 2024 alone, this amount is in billions of dollars, not in millions. From Tennessee alone in 2024, it's almost 200 millions, right? So we can see the scale of these different kind of scams. Now, this one is really interesting. I'm sure you might have seen these kind of random texts in your phone as well. So this one is called pig butchering scam or wrong number scam. So this term actually comes from, I think, from China in 2016 or 2017. Basically, what this means is that you make the pig comfortable, you fatten up the pig before you slaughter the pig. So they might send you some random text like, hey, how are you doing? Long time no see. Or let's say, hi, Sarah, is this still your number? As if they know their victims. Or this is Jenny from the gym, still on for our workout. Different kind of message. They're just trying to break the ice by just saying this kind of by just sending this kind of messages, and as a result, we will say that this is a wrong number, and that's how we have already interacted by sending a message to them, because they are really good at being really polite and they will get back to us, and that's how the conversation is stretched, and that's how the trust is established, connection is established. And they might just casually mention, once there is a good bonding established between the scammers and the victim, potential victim, they might just someday randomly mention about their successful investment. So this is exactly what I was mentioning earlier. They might just show you they're pretending to be transparent by showing you that they just made like $3,000 profit on the crypto trade, or $5,000 on a single day. So they might even ask you to they might even request you to invest in their platform with very small investment, because what we need to understand here is they are still manipulating our trust and a little bit of our greed as well. So our first small investment can range anywhere from $500 to $1,000. That actually shows profit. But what we need to remember, that this is not a real profit. These are all synthesized data in their fake dashboard. Now, probably because of a little bit of greed, and we know that, okay, this guy wasn't telling this guy wasn't lying, this guy actually has made me money. So now we might get more requests to invest more. And by saying something like that, okay, this is a very good time, this opportunity won't last forever, so you have to act now or never. So because of this, we invest large amount of money, from 500 to 5,000, from 1,000 to $10,000, and basically the scammers just run away with our money. So now let's talk about the mitigation and prevention tips. So first of all, we have to start very simple. So strong passwords for each account. So there's must be different passwords for different accounts, because when there is a cyber breach, victims already know. They keep tracking of these different kind of cyber breach, and they know that most of the time the users, they have the same passwords among all different digital platforms. So we must make sure that we have strong passwords for each account. So 12 plus characters, and mix of different letters, numbers, and symbols is really necessary, just to make sure there isn't, brute force attack, or even if there is, it takes a long period of time for them to implement that. We also have to use authenticator apps, for example, Google Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator apps. MTSU, uses that as well, and MTSU is really strict about it. Basically, authenticator apps ask who you are and what you have. So who you are, as in our credentials, username and passwords, that we are providing our credentials, and identifying ourselves, and that's not enough anymore. We also have to let the system know what we have. For example, our phones, from which we can authenticate additionally. So this is an example of multi-factor authentication. Previously, we used to have two-factor authentication. Now, this two-factor authentication has been increased to three-factor, four-factor. So sometimes we even use, apart from the multi-factor, apart from the authenticator apps, sometimes we also have to authenticate ourselves with our retina eye scan. So the more friction we add, the better it is. And we must remember these simple tips, because these simple tips actually help us with mitigating or preventing from encountering these different scammers right from the beginning. Whenever we are downloading different kind of apps, we must make sure that we check the reviews, from, even if it's in official stores like Apple App Store or Google Play stores. We must check the number of downloads, what different kind of reviews there are, just to make sure we are not downloading something really, really fishy. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to be skeptical with everything these days. And we have to review app permissions regularly. For example, if we're installing an app, a simple utility app, like a flashlight, and it's asking, this app, flashlight, is asking for the contacts access, we have to be skeptical again, instead of just letting it have the access to our contacts. Because why would a flashlight app even need the access to our contacts? There are several apps like that have been silently accessing our sensitive information all the time without our knowledge. Finally, this one is really simple, but we have to register our phone number with National Do Not Call Registry. This is not going to solve all the problems, but this is going to reduce the number of calls that we get in our phone. And the lesser number of calls we get in our phone, the lesser chance we interact with the scammers, and we save our money. So these are just some simple mitigation and prevention tips that we can keep on in our mind, to prevent from all these kind of scammers. Let's talk more about the prevention tips. Let unknown numbers go to voicemail. So these days, what we need to understand is that if we get a call from someone legitimate, and we are not there to pick up the call, then they're really good at leaving a voicemail. But the scammers, they are not, they are less likely get back to you with a voicemail. So let unknown numbers go to a voicemail. We can call them later. We can recheck their if the callers were from certain offices, from banks, from Social Security office, or from Medicare or not, by calling them from our own end later, right? So we can do all those verification from our own side, instead of just letting them interact with us in the first place. So if they called us, we can simply hang up, and we can call them back using the number that we find in their official websites. Because legitimate organizations, they never demand immediate payment. They never ask for payment through gift card, wire transfer, cryptocurrencies. We have never seen the cops, warning us and then, coming for an arrest, right? So they never ask for the full social security numbers because because these government bodies, they know that these information are very secret and very sensitive, and they will never pressure you to pay something within 30 minutes, or you will be charged with some kind of penalty or something. And they will also not ask you to keep secrets from your family. So these are some things which we must understand. I really like this particular slide because this is something really, really practical. This is not, this shouldn't be mental image, but this is something that we have to maybe stick, in our fridge. This is something that has to be physical. So what we can do is we can create a callback laminated card, to keep by the phone with the real numbers, or this is something we can maybe attach and stick in the fridge as well. So basically, what we're doing here is we are, you know, writing everyone's legitimate phone number. So your bank, your social security office, Medicare, IRS, local police, and some family member that you can trust, you can have their numbers written down and put it beside your phone, or maybe stick it in the fridge. And if you get any suspicious call, just hang up and call them from your own side, because you have to verify. Otherwise, there is a very big chance that you are ending up talking with with one of the scammers. Finally, don't just click in any text, because these is probably a phishing email or phishing link. And once you click in their text, you will be redirected into an exactly looking Facebook page or your bank page. And once you are redirected there, you will have to provide with your username and password, because you would not think that this is coming from the scammer. And once you provide your sensitive credentials, they have access to your whole account. We can go directly to the website or app if you're really concerned. Instead of clicking on the text, we can visit their, Wells Fargo's webpage, Bank of America's webpage, instead of just clicking on some random text someone sent us. We have to delete suspicious texts immediately, because if we see that text in our phone, even though we know that, that kind of raises our temptation, and that will probably, increase the temptation, and we might go back and click the link even if we do not want to. Let's not hesitate to ask someone who is tech friendly. If we are not sure about the origin of the text, we should not feel embarrassed about this. We need to remember that embarrassment is temporary, but financial loss is permanent. So never let anyone remotely access your computer unless you called a company you trust. Unless you call them, never let anyone ask you to download a remote viewing software, and basically never let them remotely access your system. And if your screen freezes with warning, it's really simple. Just turn your computer off, unplug your computer, maybe call a family member, or maybe call a local computer repair shop to verify what went wrong. But just do not follow the instructions provided by the scammers, because that's probably a scamming technique they are using on your system. So just turn off your computer in that case. If we're using different kind of cards, we need to make sure that we are setting spending limits. Even if they get access to our system or our cards, we make sure that they have only stolen minimum amount of our money, not all of it. So we have to use our credit cards instead of debit for purchases, because if we are using debit cards, it's the money is coming out from our checking account, and it's very hard when it comes to dispute with the debit cards compared with the credit cards. We also have to keep our social security and pension in separate different accounts, so that the scammers, they don't get access to the single pool of money. So we are basically creating a backup account here. So keep social security account different from your pension account, so that whenever the hackers or scammers get access to your account, they only have minimum attack surface, not the entire. What we need to understand is these four keywords. So like I have been saying, these scammers, they may be tax savvy, but it's not necessary they are hacking our system. They are hacking our emotions. So isolation is the biggest risk factor for scam vulnerability. Loneliness, they make people desperate for connection, and we easily fall into these kind of traps. Boredom makes scam opportunities, kind of like different investment opportunities, seem more appealing because we have not much anything exciting to do. So we might fall into these kind of opportunities very easily. And finally, we have depression that reduces critical thinking and self-protection. This does not mean that it's affecting our IQ, but it just means that it does not mean it's affecting our competence, but it just means that the scammers are using these different kind of techniques to manipulate our emotions, and that emotion, when combined with overwhelming instructions coming out from the scammers, our logical thinking, critical thinking is overridden by something else, and as a result, we are open to these scammers. So these are the four keywords that we must remember, apart from other prevention tips that we just discussed. And that is all for today. If you have any kind of questions, or if you'd like to share any kind of incidents that you probably have faced, I'm happy to hear.
I say go ahead and feel free, everybody, to drop any questions you might have in the chat. Dr. Upadhyay, we had a couple of folks that were wanting copies of your slides.
Oh,
And I
I will
didn't know if
be,
that was
yeah,
possible to,
absolutely,
I could
absolutely. I
send
can
that.
share, yeah.
I'll be happy to send that tomorrow
Mhm.
to everybody. And getting some comments here saying thank you, excellent presentation.
Thank you. I really
Um,
appreciate your time, and if you have any kind of questions, I am open for that, and I would be more than happy to share my slides to you, and you can forward um, to those individuals who wanted it.
that sounds great. I do have one quick question on here. Cloud
Mhm.
storage full, is it a scam?
I'm sorry. Can I
They
let me
ask
just?
if your cloud storage is full, is
Um,
it a scam?
uh, I cannot say it's a scam already, because there are some more things we have to diagnose. Just like we get your account has been hacked, please act right away. So if you are providing your sensitive information uh, to a system that kind of looks real, it's probably a scam. So we must remember that we are legitimate we are using legitimate services. A lot of Google services we use, scammers have been very clever these days. They kind of clone the website as well, and they make look our their system as real as the legitimate system. So it depends. It might, you might simply have it could be an indication from Google that your storage is almost full. I keep getting that message all the time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a scam, but again, we have to check other different aspects of the issue as well, not just decide from that one notification.
Makes sense. Well, um, thank you so much. That was some great information. I will be sending out an email tomorrow to everybody who registered. You'll receive a link um, to the recording. We'll also load it onto mtalumni.com. Just if you're interested, our next webinar is going to be on safe and positive social media use for families on April 1st. For more information on that, you can go register on mtalumni.com. Dr. Upadhyay, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.